Snipers, you have to see what's happening in the cryptocurrency market today as Bitcoin is slowly seeing more and more sell-side pressure below the $35,000 level where we have the weekly and monthly open. And we've yet to see Bitcoin take the elevator and really see downside pressure, but we know that we have this $29,000 support, which is this lower low that we could potentially form to stay inside of this flag and consolidation. But what I want to talk about today, a lot of you guys have been asking to show the volume profile that I've been talking about over my last few videos for those that have been tuned into the Snipers channel. So I want to pull up this volume profile today to talk about why I am concerned when Bitcoin is below 35,000, because a lot of people that are new to technical analysis will like to draw dozens of support and resistance levels, and you see all of these lines on their charts, but what they're not keeping in mind is where there's accumulation and distribution within an asset. And you can see here where the volume really comes into play is where we see Bitcoin see fast price movements, and that's where we start to see transitions in price. So notice how right now below the $30,000 level here, there is no volume all the way down to this $24,000 area. So what we call this in technical analysis, for those that are a little bit more advanced, is called a pass-through zone. And what that means is because we're below 35,000, where the majority of the volume is at, and this is also an important support and resistance level, that if any extreme sell side pressure comes into the order books at any point in time, Bitcoin's price is extremely vulnerable inside of this range to see the price potentially come down to the $24,000 level, because that's really where there's volume. Anywhere above that, there's no volume because of how fast Bitcoin passed through these levels. So below 35,000 is certainly a concern that we're going to talk about today, and we want to understand the volume and the importance of this, because without an understanding of the volume, the support and resistance lines that you have on your chart don't necessarily matter. And that's why the numbers on our charts are extremely important. I see that time and time again, and our trades are always specific to the exact number because numbers do matter. And so we're going to talk about what Bitcoin is doing right now. Obviously, we're seeing the sell side pressure. Nothing new here for those that have been tuned in. Below 35,000, it's a tough game for Bitcoin. And now we have this monthly and weekly open here. We've yet to see any price action test 34,788 over the last 24 hours. That's a sign of concern for those that have their limit orders below 26,000. Keep those on the order books, because remember, at any point in time, if we see downside pressure, we test the $28,000 level. If it doesn't hold, there may be a wick all the way down to the $20,000 level. This area here has volume. There's distribution. There's accumulation. We know institutions are going to be buying Bitcoin at these levels. So we're going to talk about more of the environments outside of Bitcoin today. I don't want to go too much into Bitcoin because, of course, for those that have been saying in the comments, man, the videos are getting redundant. I understand that, but it's because the price action is getting redundant. And so I'm not going to sit here and just change my opinion every single day because I want to give you guys something interesting. I'm going to just be your umpire and tell you exactly what I'm seeing and how it is with an unbiased point of view. And when we look at altcoins like Ethereum, we're seeing the downside because of Bitcoin. Remember, those 1760 entries that we got are not as good if we see more downside pressure, because the fact of the matter is we already tested this area twice. You can see we saw this initial wick here in late May for Ethereum to the $1,700 level, and then in June we saw the price action kind of have a cup of coffee here before reversing. If we come down again below 1980, I wouldn't be looking at this area. I would start looking at the $1,600 to $1,400 range where we have the previous all-time high. That's going to be a prime entry for Ethereum if we really see that downside play out. Now, I definitely don't expect Ethereum to come below the previous all-time high at 1440. We know that Ethereum is the stronger asset right now because we look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. There's clear strength here above the 50-day moving average, trying to come up and break out of this towards the 86,000 Satoshi level. We stay above 65,000 Satoshis. It's the stronger asset. We get below this, we could see some more pressure with altcoins. I wouldn't be too concerned if we saw the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart come down one last time to form another low here, that wouldn't be a big deal. I still think in the macro, towards 2022, we're going to definitely see Ethereum outperform a lot of the other cryptocurrencies. Total cryptocurrency market cap chart, nothing new, camping out, having a cup of coffee here at the 200-day moving average. Others dominance showing strength. If we see another pullback, we'll come back down to 12.2% dominance. Totally fine with me. Fact of the matter is we're above this 20-week moving average. It's the only chart in the cryptocurrency market when it comes to the different revolving parts like Bitcoin dominance, total crypto market cap, Bitcoin, Ethereum. This is the most bullish chart, the others dominance chart, because it looks like it wants to come and form either a lower high or higher high. We'll talk about that. I do want to address what's happening to traditional markets. Remember, this does matter. It affects Bitcoin. The VIX up 18% today. Why? The S&P 500 down 1% today, just like we've been talking about. We saw that initial candle here on the 6th of June. The low was breaching the Friday close, and that, I told you guys, was a sign of a breakdown. We're seeing the breakdown tested below the monthly open today. This is definitely showing more of a medium-term consolidation potentially here for the S&P 500. That might not be the best for Bitcoin. So the melting pot with the VIX showing lots of volatility. The DXY, it's not as strong as, we talked about yesterday, above 92.62, but it's already in this higher range, and we're already seeing the S&P 500 react. If we push higher, that could be even bloodier for traditional markets. When the dollar pushes up in value, the fact of the matter is we start to see a pullback in everything. Look at US oil pulling down right now. So you guys are watching the Snipers channel. We have a lot to talk about today. My name is Naeem Al-Obeidi. As always, remember to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps our channel. And I already talked about this volume profile, and it really does matter that we're in a range right now that we could at any point see Bitcoin pass through this $30,000 level, coming all the way down here. The problem with this and why it's a concern is below 30,000 in this pass-through zone is only a 17% range here, but that's quite significant for Bitcoin because a 17% range could cause altcoins to come down 30%, right? So right now, we really need to be careful and monitor if we start to see any volume to the sell pressure come into the order books. That's going to start assuming that we're going to see some sort of downside for Bitcoin. 28,000 is the first area that I'd see some sort of support, but based on the volume profile, it looks like we could potentially come down to the $26,000 range, test this area. The fact of the matter is there's just no volume, so we have to address that. That's why, notice how there was no volume between the $42,000 to $45,000 range, so we never stayed in that range. Look at that price just sliced through. So we don't want to see that same thing happen here, right? And you don't want to be caught in a position for just slicing through, and then we start to come up, have those entries set in place below 26,000, so you can catch those wicks if they do occur. For the upside, get us above 34,788. Now we have the 50-day moving average here. We'll talk about upside. Until then, I'm going to be the umpire. We'll have another video out here in a few hours. We'll talk about upside if it's there, but right now we have to address what the blueprint is showing us. Ethereum obviously pulling back because of Bitcoin. Like I mentioned from the intro, we get below 1760. That's the prime entry I'm looking for here for Ethereum. I definitely think we'll get back above 3,000 at some point into the later parts of this year, into 2022. So let's watch that here. If Ethereum to Bitcoin chart gets below 65,000 Satoshis, that's going to assume we'll see weakness with altcoins, at least for the short term. For the medium term, what we'll have to watch is others' dominance, right? So we see we're above this multi-year support. We get on this weekly chart. We're sitting at home base. We don't want to come too far below this area if we want to assume continued strength to the latter part of this year. So we'll monitor this as we start to see what happens with Bitcoin at the $34,000 level, which is really where it's sitting. But Bitcoin dominance obviously falling down because of what's happening to altcoins showing strength. Traditional markets, oil pulled back. It was the first one to pull back. Commodities usually are a leading indicator, and that's why we said the S&P was going to pull back. Even though it wasn't pulling back yesterday, today it did. And so that was the confirmation. Testing the monthly open, we get below here, this monthly open at 42.90. That's going to show some very weak signs here that we could come down to test this 50-day moving average at 42.10 for the S&P 500. That right there, just downside percentage, about 2%. Not crazy for the S&P 500, but quite significant to say the least. And it's a big market. The VIX up here looks like this might be the end of this volatility, but these times typically make you reevaluate your assets and your positions because you see this VIX up 20%, something's happening. And so obviously institutions are moving their money somewhere. DXY still showing strength. We need to monitor this. As long as we're in this range, that's the best thing we can see. We get below 91.92, that's even better. But if we hold 91.92 and we start to see upside, whenever we really start to cross this 92.62 range with strength, that's when we really need to start ringing the sirens, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I appreciate each and every one of you snipers tuned into our channel. Of course, I hope you like the volume profile today. We won't keep it on our charts always, but sometimes it's important to keep it there. And I want to give away Principles by Ray Dalio, one of my favorite books on value investing. If you want to win this book, comment below, share this video, have a chance to win. I'll pick a winner from our video yesterday, and we'll wrap this video up. Josh Hurwitz says, ETH leading the pack. Let's go altcoins. Thanks, Naeem. Send me a message on Instagram, brother. You want a book. And with that, thank you all for tuning in to our channel today. And until next time, it's Friday tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting week as we head into the weekend where the markets are the most manipulated due to CME futures being closed. I can't wait to see how markets close tomorrow, and then we can play Bitcoin during the weekend, whether it's to the upside or downside. We'll see. Thank you for tuning in today. Until next time, snipers